All right, hear me out on this. So I'm going to tell you why, if you are over 40 and you're on your fitness journey, you should strongly consider training like an athlete, okay? Hear me out. It's 3 reasons. We're going to get right into them. Here's the first thing: conditioning. If you've been an athlete like I have, played sports, basketball, track, football, baseball, whatever the sport is, then you know that at the beginning of the season, even before the season really gets started good, you're not training in your sport, you're actually conditioning. And what is conditioning? That's running laps, that's going on the track and running miles, that's doing suicides. These are things that athletes do even before the season gets started good. Now, why is it? The reason why is because it's important to have good endurance. It's important to have good, wind, that you're able to last for the duration of the sport and even beyond, okay? Now, this is what athletes do, because this is it's not just about the skill, it's about the conditioning so that you can do the skill well and for a long period of time. Whether or not you, as a person over 40, are aiming to get back into sports or not, I contend that you are still training for something. What, you might ask? This thing called life. Think about this. When athletes train for sports, their goal is to last for a long time, to be able to last easily as long as the sport goes, if not longer, and even also to outlast the opponent, to have more endurance than the opponent, so you can hopefully win the game, okay? Now, you're training for life. Are you gonna be sprinting every day as a necessity? No. Are you gonna be lifting heavy things as a necessity? You're not. But just like athletes train for sports by doing way more than's necessary so that they have plenty of capacity, this is what we want to do. We want to have plenty of capacity for life. So you're going to do, sprints and jumps and lifting weights and, maybe run some miles every now and then. You want to do these things so that you have plenty of capacity to do whatever you need to do with your physical body in life. Okay. Now, the second reason that you should consider training like an athlete is because you will get in shape fast. You get in shape really fast. Now, the average person, and correct me, put it in the comments if I'm wrong. The average person who's even being consistent with their exercise routine is not necessarily doing much more than checking off a checkbox, meaning, okay, I got my walk in. I went and did my exercise class. You may not necessarily be like pushing it, but you're getting it in, and that's commendable. Consistency is the most important thing. But what athletes do is, and this is why they get into shape quickly, they are pushing every single time to get a little bit further, to go a little faster the next time, to do the mile in a little bit quicker time, to lift a little bit more weight or to get one more repetition. This is what separates athletes from, quote, normal people who are just checking off a checkbox, just doing the exercise so they can say that they did it. I'm not saying that's wrong. What I'm saying is this is what helps them to get in shape quickly. Now, I give a caveat. Now, you don't necessarily want to rush into exercise, obviously, especially if you're 40 and over and you haven't been doing anything for a long time, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You want to ease in. You probably need to get a checkup. You want to be very gradual, but this is what you're working toward, if that makes sense. You're working toward, being able to train like an athlete so you can get in shape quickly. The third reason that you should strongly consider training like an athlete is because athletes have certain physiques. Their physiques look a certain way. Now, like I know, the average athlete, unless you're a bodybuilder or fitness competitor, the average athlete is not training for a look. Gymnasts are training to be able to flip. They're training to be able to move themselves on the rings and the what do you call it, the horse. What you know what I'm talking about. They're basketball players are training to be able to move quickly in short bursts and to shoot and dribble and to do all these things, stop and go, same thing, similar with tennis players. Sprinters are training to go as fast as they can to win whatever race that they're involved in. And what happens as a consequence is that their bodies look a certain way, okay? So they're not necessarily training to look a certain way, but they look a certain way as a consequence of the training that they do, which is really cool. It just shows how the body adapts. So if I were to put in front of you a couch potato, a marathoner, and a gymnast, and not tell you who's who, and they all have on regular civilian clothes, I guarantee you, well, I'll say they all have on like the same kind of athletic clothes. I guarantee you, you would be able to tell who's who. Why? Because their training makes them look a certain kind of way. That said, if you want to look, for example, if you want to have the body of a sprinter, then you eventually need to be working toward what sprinters do. You know, a lot of sprints, some weightlifting, you know, some level of conditioning, you know, as in like a little bit of long distance, but not much. You know, if you want to look like a boxer, you need to be doing what boxers do, you know, sparring, jumping rope, getting some miles in every now and then. This is what you do. And this is the reason why I like it so much, is because, as I've said, it's a consequence of the action. It's not necessarily just for the look, but it's a consequence of doing the certain kind of exercise that makes the body look a certain way. So those are 3 reasons I would strongly recommend you, as a person over 40, to train like an athlete, okay? So let me know what you think about this in the comments. Make sure you comment below. If you haven't watched the video above, make sure that you watch that, and make sure you stay tuned by liking and subscribing. Have a good one.